what's going to happen in the eternal after the tribulation when God is going to separate the holy from the profane. Because in Genesis chapter 2, we see when God has made this man, that he puts him in the Garden of Eden, and God would come down with the man. And God had this relationship with him before sin came. Genesis 2:7. Then the Lord God formed man of the dust from the ground, and breathed in his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. And the Lord God planted a garden towards the east in Eden, and there he placed the man who he formed. And then in verse 10 we see, now a river flowed out of Eden to water the garden. From there it divided and became 4 rivers. So God has this relationship with this man that he created, this living being. And he's in the Garden of Eden with this river flowing there. In Revelation chapter 22, because we have sin come into the world, as we see in Genesis. In Revelation chapter 22, when things are all restored, we're brought back to that place. Because look at Revelation 22:1. And he showed me a river of the water of life, clear as crystal, coming from the throne of God and of the Lamb. So we have this place where we're going to come back, and this river of life is going to be there. And you're going to have this garden, because in verse 2, Revelation 22:2, and in the middle of its street, and on either side of the river was the tree of life, bearing 12 kinds of fruit, yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healings of nations. And in Revelation 20, verses 11 through 15, God's going to separate us from the sinners. But why is he doing this? What's he doing? We're going to have this separation to separate the holy from the profane. And in Revelation 20, beginning of verse 11, and I saw a great white throne, and him who sat upon it, from whose presence earth and heaven fled away, and no place was found to them. And I saw the dead, the great and the small, standing before the throne, and books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged from the things which were written in the books according to their deeds. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it. Death and Hades gave up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every one of them, according to their deeds. So this is the evil, the unsaved people, those not chosen by the Father. They're all being judged. And in verse 14, and death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death, the lake of fire. And if anyone's name was not found written in the book of life, he was thrown into the lake of fire. So we have this tree of life. We have this river of life, this place with God and his people. And they are going to be separated from us. It's the only way it could be. We don't want them coming with their evil, their drugs, their prostitution, their perversion, their hate, their anger. We don't want them with us. God's simply going to separate. On our side is the tree of life, the river of life, the light. On their side, it's the lake of fire. It's this fire, burning, unquenchable fire. It's darkness. It's death. God's simply going to separate these things. And as you see in Ezekiel chapter 42:20, Ezekiel 42:20, he measured it on the 4 sides. It had a wall all around, the length 500 and the width 500. So God has this wall, this separation to separate us from them from us. One side, the light, the life, the garden, the river of life, the other side, the lake of fire, the darkness, the death. We're of the life, they're of the death. But why is God doing this? Ezekiel 42:20. To divide between the holy and the profane. God's simply going to separate us from them from us. One with light and life, the other death and darkness and fire. And now look at Luke chapter 16, verse 26, when he's talking about the afterlife and what's going to happen there. Luke 16:26. And besides all this, between us and you, there is a great chasm fixed, in order that those who wish to come over from here to you may not be able, and that none may cross over from there to us. Do you see it, saints? There's going to be this great divide, this great wall. That's what eternity is. Those chosen by the Father, the light, the life, the living water, the tree of life, those of the world and the devil and the darkness and the evil, they're in the lake of fire, they're in the darkness, they're in the death for eternity. And as it's saying here, it's explaining this in this parable in Luke chapter 16. Let's read that again. And besides all this, between us and you, there is a great chasm fixed. There's this great divide. There's this great separation. There's this great wall between us and them. In order that those who wish to come over from here to you, those that are going to wish to come over, they're going to wish that they were chosen by the Father. They're going to wish they walked in the light. They're going to wish it. In order that those who wish to come over from here to you may not be able to, and that none may cross over from there to us. It's a permanent, eternal separation. We're in the light and the life, by the grace of God, chosen by the Father, predestined. They're going to be in the darkness. Don't make this such another weird video game of those on the broad road of destruction. God's just going to eternally separate them from us and us from them. They won't be able to come to our side, and we won't be able to go to their side. Once and forever, an eternal wall to separate the holy from the profane.